Welcome to another episode of my Motortown playthrough. Today we are going to do a car haul from Dasa to Jeju, and we are going to start by getting our trucks out and also putting in something in the middle there. So I think for this one we just want the other Golema. Didn't I just take this one? Pretty sure I selected the blue one and not the black one, but the black one spawned and I don't know. So for semi-trailer we need the tether lead. Very essential for every car hauling. I mean, not really, but this thing is going to make us about 50k more money. So I would like this. It's a really good strat. We'll see what this one does in a moment. But yeah, of course we also need the carry. So let's get that one out. And let's hook it all up and then drive over to the pickup point for all the vehicles. I hope I get a good set here, but it shouldn't really be too difficult. I think if possible I just wanna bring it over to Gangyang or maybe everything to Jeju City, but Gangyang would likely work better for this due to the whole tanker setup. We'll see all of that in a moment. And just sliding around the corner here. Let's see, I should have enough space at the dock over there to turn around. I don't need to try and reverse in there. I think I've done that before. It went alright, but it took a bit more time than what I want to use here. Nice little collection of cars. Let's try and turn this around. Ah, perfect. Don't know why I was even worried there. I mean, yeah, I know my driving style. That might be the reason. Okay, that one can just stand here for a moment. This is gonna take a few minutes. So let's get it set up, get the ramp down, get the deck down. And let's see what we have here. So we have a limo and that one, I mean, I can just go here. Okay, that goes into Gangyang. Is that... Okay, that's the dealership. I thought it might have also gone to maybe the taxi stand or the luxury dealership, but no, this is just the regular one. That's pretty good. This one right here goes to Jeju City. And this one goes to the Jeju City dealership. Lots of different locations. That seems to be the luxury car dealership, so... Yeah, I would like them to go to the same location ideally. This is still the Gangyang one. I'm waiting for this to ever be worth it. But for 12k, that's just no thank you. Okay, this one also goes to Jeju City. The problem is I need a location to bring the fuel to, and it needs to be one that also has the option for a contract. Gas stations don't do that. And some other areas I cannot fully deliver the 20 kiloliter to, so that's also out of question. So I'm not entirely sure what to do here. Can of course always spawn in more cars, but I don't want to go with a Muhan because that's almost too large for the stuff here. But yeah, I could bring the two smaller cars to Jeju. I could also then bring the police car over there. Might have to do that. Getting no new spawn yet. I wonder what's the condition for that, because I've seen them spawn like 10 cars or so before ever really slowing down. Sometimes you get maybe 1 or 2 and that's about it. I should maybe not be putting it up front that much. It could be ending up escaping on the tanker. So let me just get in there again and slightly bring it down. Okay, that seems to be alright. Let's strap it. Just like that. Okay, we get a taxi there. I mean, this is likely going to go to the luxury dealership, and yeah, you know what, I'm going to abandon job here because that thing is way too large. This is likely also going to the luxury dealership, but it's a smaller car. So that's pretty nice. What about this one? Get abandoned. It's good being the admin in your own session. Really makes this a bit easier. But yeah, these are going to be delivered last, so I'm putting them way on the top where it's hard to reach. Just gonna have to unload everything else first, but that's exactly what I'm going to do anyways. And just like that. That's another decently large vehicle. I don't even care where it goes. This is going to just get abandoned. Another police car. I mean, we can bring this one to the front already. I don't know if I really want to load the Hydro, because that thing is just gonna get damaged by loading it up there. Sadly, the carry isn't the best vehicle when it comes to the loading procedure. The ramps are a bit too short, and the angle difference between them is a bit too steep. It's just... yeah. Not easy to load something up without damage. If I found something really tiny, I could maybe even bring 4 cars up here, but I think that might be stretching it a bit. I mean, there would be space for another Mini potentially. Doesn't seem like he got one though, so yeah. Let's see, this might go to Gangyang. That might be a good spot here. Yep. I mean... yeah, I think I know what I want to do now. The Zydo is likely going to get a bit banged up doing this, but... yeah, I kind of want to unload this again, try to get it centered, and then slowly roll down. And we are going to put the limo on top. We have enough space there, that should be alright. This is going to Gangyang as well, so yeah, that should be okay. Yeah, plenty of space for this old land yard. And that's the upper deck being dealt with. So now we put the Zydo on the front of the lower deck, which means that we can still lower the top deck without it getting damaged. Okay, that seems to be alright. I mean, I was trying to get something straightforward, but honestly, this is more interesting. So now what we are... just 4 Elisas over here. That thing needs to get an updated replacement at some point. So yeah, now what we are going to do is bring this one in. And then last but not least, the Neo. Okay. So the unloading order now is luxury dealership, the Neo, then the regular dealership in Gangyang for the Tuscan and the Monarch limo. Then we drive over to the Liju police station to get rid of the Zydro, and then the Liju city car dealership for the last two. So that should work out pretty well. And now we're just gonna take care of the fuel. Fill up the tanker and bring it somewhere, and I gotta figure out what that location will be. I was kinda hoping we could get all cars go to the Gangyang dealership, then leave the car trailer behind and then just go over to the furniture factory, which is a really good location for what I have in mind here. Takes 20 kiloliters of fuel and also offers contracts, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, doesn't really work if we have so many other cars there. I mean, I could maybe leave the trailer somewhere and then just bring the fuel over and then just take the trailer for the rest of the way. But I'll check locations and see if I find something closer to the end. Might also be far more than 50k from the tanker. 50k is usually what you get for the 20 kiloliter contract. But what I'm doing here is also a long haul for the fuel, and therefore there should be a good amount of money from the fuel itself without the contract. So both combined should give us a really nice payout. Cargo damage 3%, which is not too surprising. It's likely the Zydro. As long as it doesn't just spontaneously start increasing, then we should be alright here. But that's the reason why I didn't go for cars like the Elisa or the Muhan. They tend to get damaged on transit. But I think all the cars that I got here are from the modeling team, and therefore they are much better sized for the truck. I mean, the trailer in the end. And yeah, with the next update, once we get the other connection, we can actually do this the other way. Get the fuel first, then go to the harbor and get all the cars and then drive the other direction. Overall, the road connection from the quarry to Dasa, only that new part that's getting added, is pretty nice. It has a lot of corners, but overall it's also kinda smooth and yeah, nothing too steep, nothing too crazy. The area between the quarry and the cement factory, that's a bit more fast-paced overall. And the other part, getting over to Bayang, that's the by far most difficult one. So yeah, the new road section, that's also gonna be a good option for the Terra, I think. That's something that I want to try out once we get the update. I'm holding back on that one. Trying to get 2 Terras to the quarry through that route. But yeah, I also tried getting some containers out of Dasa and over to Jeju. Also through the same route, and I gotta say, it's all pretty good until you get to the cement factory, because from that point on it gets really tough with... I almost drove past the refinery. From that point on it gets really tough with the inclines. So yeah, there is some limitation with that. Okay, can I just park this without it getting demolished by traffic? I'm not entirely sure if the gate is high enough for me to get in there with a fully loaded vehicle trailer. So I'm going to just leave it here. Should be easy enough to hook back onto this thing after we come back. Does this thing have some brakes pulled or something? Maybe one of the axles isn't really making contact with the ground? I've had that in the past and it's really weird. I mean, given that yeah, the tractor is lowered and this is a triple axle trailer, there might be some low contact on some of the axles without enough weight on them. Still feels a bit weird. So here we go. And I think we want to go for distance. I mean, Lijo Harbor. I'm not sure if that allows for contracts. I don't think so. Lijo is just a gas station. I think the same over here. Oh no, that might actually be a dropper for the lumber mill. Lijo construction site only accepts 10 units, so that might not work for me. A-Wall might be another gas station. We might be stuck with a furniture factory. But yeah, that's 20 units, so we're going to take them. The good thing for this is the furniture factory takes fuel as a booster for production, and it's automatically using that up. So if you do this once in a while, And then give it enough time. You don't need to empty out the furniture factory to get the capacity back. It's just gonna empty itself out after some time. So this is a pretty good option for repeat trips every now and again. And yeah, should be 50k just from the delivery itself. 20 units times 2.5. And then we of course also make the money for the contract on top. And this isn't really a heavy load. 20 kiloliters of fuel is pretty tame, and I mean the car trailer is quite heavy, but the cars themselves aren't that much of a big deal. So this isn't even a heavy haul, but it's gonna be a really profitable one. Okay, let's try to hook this up. And we should be back ready to go. If I can make the turn here. Drive over a pedestrian. He had the chance to get out of the way, decided not to. So that's not on me, I don't think. So one thing I would like to also quickly mention, I have a good amount of money right now, and I'm currently also thinking that maybe I can roll back up onto the testing version with the additional money I'm making from this, because this might be around 300k and I would like to keep that money. The thing is, on the closed test, we often only get the new vehicles as as a stock version first, without the option to purchase them. So we're gonna have to try the stock versions, and then eventually we'll be able to buy them and see what the update or the upgraded ones are like once we apply our own tuning. And right now, with the new update, a lot of the vehicles are only available stock, and that means that I still have to pay all the money to get the new stuff. So yeah, 5 million is a good amount of money for what I usually have, but it will go down quite significantly very soon, and therefore I would like to keep as much as I can. But I will have to see about that. I mean, theoretically I could even just do these videos on the testing version. It's not closed because it's top secret or anything, it's closed because it's a bit more volatile and there are things that are subject to change. But I don't like doing videos on that version, because in the end, a lot of the stuff that we are getting there are still so rough that they might change in such a significant way that, for me at least, in my opinion, making videos on that version, even with disclaimer, it can be a bit of false advertising or just misleading. You might not get what you would expect from those videos, and yeah. Once it goes into public testing, there are still a lot of things that can change, but it's at least a bit more towards what it should be in the end. Of course, also further additions can be made later down the line, further things can change over time, but at that point I think there is a certain type of stability that's going to last for a while. And that's just something that you don't really have with private testing. Plus there might also be all types of weird bugs happening. We have one right now that's causing game crashes, and that's not really amazing. The dev is on it, and it's likely going to get fixed, but that's kind of just the thing that you run into with the closed testing. And for the videos as well, I would like them to be a continuous session and not just have the game shut down on me. But I gotta say, this is nice. I don't even need to be too careful right here. The 20 kiloliter tanker isn't going to roll over anytime soon. The cars aren't getting sudden damage. They might be getting some once we get to the off-road section and all of that. Maybe I want to go through Ara and up the other side there. That would also get rid of some of the bumpy sections, I think, so yeah, might just do that. Honestly, being on the testing version is kind of surreal having that new road now. I've been wanting to get that for such a long time. Just doing the same types of trips across the same roads all the time gets a bit boring. We theoretically now have the Ara and Eastern Coastal Roads and all of that stuff, so there is another way that we can go, and that might be the preferable way for some of the stuff, but it's also a bit longer than the Central Road. And I think just having the Western connection now, it's gonna be fun. It's already fun in testing, and I think just having a bit more diversity when it comes to picking your routes, each with their own advantages and disadvantages, it's a better place for the game than having to take the same damn road all the time. Also, I've been trying to get some dev attention on the whole thing with potholes. I feel like they have taken over. They are just very disruptive when it comes to regular cars, easy to lose control when driving over them, and also just the sheer amount. It maybe works for some of these back roads over here on OG, but the other stuff on Lijo Island in particular, I mean, you go to Lijo City and you just see 5, 6, 7, whatever, how many potholes just one after the other on the same road. And it just looks like the entire city is in disrepair. So, yeah, I don't like that. Gotta be careful with the ghosts here. I don't wanna see my truck yeeted away. Still hoping for an improvement to ghosts. They are kinda disruptive. Especially with a bit of multiplayer desync, you can see cars go flying. So, yeah, I don't know what to do about that one in particular. It's kinda... It's not just annoying, it's dangerous and really disruptive to the gameplay here and there. Maybe one lower gear. Got to pull at least a little bit here. Shouldn't have driven straight over. That could have gone worse. Thankfully, it was only the tractor that got a bit irritated. If it got below my my car carrier, this would have been a whole other story, with a whole lot of damage to likely all the cars. So I don't know. The ghosts are a fun little event, fun little addition, but they shouldn't be anywhere near as disruptive as they are right now. Problem is, once we get to the winter update, we are going to get the I don't know what's the name of this one. It's a Korean thing. Gesundere or something. We are going to get that replaced with the campus, and that's just same story with a different costume. Okay, can you not make this awkward? Can you just go and let me take the turn after you? Okay, quick refueling. Thankfully, we are driving the Golema, so there isn't really any fear that we might not make it. Still, half the ass up on the road there, that's not amazing. I tried some of the hauls with the Atlas, but the fuel tank is just so small, it's not usable for a few cases. Might be alright for this one, because this isn't a heavy haul. But if you try to go from here to Baiyang with terras loaded, you're not going to make it. It's just going to take too much fuel and run out before you get to the next gas station. I don't know if stopping at Ara would be an option if you go this direction here. But yeah, I'm not just gonna tie it anymore. I'll just use a Golema. Got myself the second one. The black one is for heavy hauls, and that's been working great. But yeah, we are going into the night now. Honestly, this kind of reminds me of the Coca-Cola Christmas commercials. At least the good old ones before they started using AI and made some horrible shit out of them. I mean, there's been this, I don't know what to call it, like a little, like a little graphic where they give you some timestamps for the video and then also show the constellation of vehicle that you have there. Like sometimes the trucks look like they are rigid trucks. Sometimes they have only front wheels and then still a joint but no rear wheels for the semi-tractor. Sometimes they have triple wheels set up for the trailer with one wheel in the middle, which would be horrible to maneuver. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. I've been half tempted to suggest some of these for Motortown. Just here, if you want to do more trucks, here are a few constellations that you haven't done yet. They might be horrible, they might not exist in real life, but if you want to do more, why not? Honestly, I'm glad that they moved away from trucking for a bit. They got a few good things in there with the B-doubles, with some of the shorter trailers, even though some of them feel a bit redundant. So I think it's about time to finally give some other jobs a bit more love. Which is what they have been doing. I mean, yeah. I mentioned that in the last video. We got the search and rescue for ambulance, also the new ambulances overall. We are getting firefighting job, we are getting mailman at some point. Who knows how far they will push that one back. But yeah, I like that they are putting in new jobs and that they are also putting in stuff that is a bit more ambitious. For me, when it comes to the things that they have been doing up until that point, I mean, some of the things were a bit more creative, like adding the whole thing to the quarry, where you had to get the stuff from different parts of the quarry and bring it down there with a big mining truck. Also, the mining truck production is its own thing and pretty cool. But a lot of the jobs are also just kinda copy and paste. You have a place that needs some resources. You maybe add another new trailer for the resources, and then you just go back and forth A to B. And I mean, that's a lot of the jobs here, that's overall still pretty okay. But I like that some of them are a bit more in depth or offer a different type of experience. If it's just heavy cargo on heavy duty semi truck and trailer, then for me it doesn't really always matter what it is, it feels pretty much the same. But stuff like the off-road area, of which I hope we'll get another one in the future, it's just a different experience despite it being pretty similar on just the technical terms. But yeah, stuff like the car hauler is a bit different because of the loading and unloading. I mean, it took me 10 minutes to set that one up. But that's 10 fun minutes that I can play around with something really cool in this game. I feel like car hauling and tow trucking, the combination of the two, those are some of the most in-depth and fun mechanics in the game. It's amazing what they have been able to do. And then of course you also get things like the racing stuff, which I've always been a fan of in a lot of games, and just being able to set your own checkpoints. The racing is fun, even with some of the hiccups. And yeah, part of that is the road damage. And to be clear, I don't just want them to go back from this to having perfectly smooth roads and everything. I think a few potholes here and there are okay. They should maybe monitor that they are not getting too deep. If they are giving us deep potholes, then there should also be an option to repair them. That could be another job in the future. Maybe that's what they might be working on next. That would be amazing. I have no information on that, by the way. This is just something that I would love to see. But yeah, a whole different way to handle this would be through road profile changes. And that's something that I've been trying to push for a while. Basically, if you cut up the road and take a look at the cross section, right now the surface is perfectly smooth apart from the different potholes and everything. But I would like to see some crested roads that are a bit higher in the middle, some damage caused by heavy vehicles where maybe the part of the road where the wheels are touching is sagging a little bit due to heavy and consistent use. So stuff like that could be done. And it would be quite a bit smoother. Could still be quite something. And especially on the back roads, like going to Sanho and Dasa. Those roads could be quite heavily damaged in that way. Also could still incorporate a few cracks and potholes and that kind of thing. But I think that would add a unique character to the roads. But also overall still keep a bit of smoothness that is needed. Whereas right now, especially with how plentiful all these potholes are, you can't really avoid them too much. Damn, and somehow we ended up on the same road as in the last episode. I didn't really plan ahead on that part, but I mean, it's a different type of vehicle now. We are also not going to take the West Bridge to the other island. This is also a road that has been used in... Oh no, not this one. Once we get past the next intersection, that's been used for the recent event, the Cora Cup. I haven't really been recording the recent ones, I just didn't feel like it. When it comes to the whole commentary thing, right now I'm kinda in a space where I feel I have a bit more fun with the stuff if I don't know that I'll have to make a commentary video out of it. I think I talked about that at length in past videos, so yeah. You should know by now that you can't really expect anything from me in that regard. I wish I could be a bit more consistent with all this stuff, but overall, times have been rough and therefore, yeah. I'm doing what I can. Sometimes these videos, making them also kinda helps me out. Something to do, something to focus on, but sometimes they also take a bit of energy, so yeah. Gonna have to monitor how I handle this. I'm glad I have this as an outlet, but yeah, sometimes the break is also important. I was maybe a bit inspired going onto that turn with that much speed, but hey, it worked out. I should also be a bit more careful. I have the throttle blip turned off. Mainly for drag racing. If you have it turned off and just while shifting keep hitting the gas, you're not spooling down the turbocharger, and that's going to be a difference of a few tenths of a second, which is very important for drag racing. I should have maybe made another video on the whole assist thing, because basically the whole tuning thing, assist, spiel, not spiel, they have a role. They have a big role in this one, and it's yeah, about as important as some of the other tuning options that you have. So I think for a complete tuning guide, there would be a video on the assist, but I'm really not in the mood and don't know all the settings well enough to really make any recommendations on that. But yeah, they are kind of important. Like, I tried getting into the top tier of Neo rankings for the drag strip, and I was always doing like 10.5, 10.6. And when I read a guide about this, there were a few things that I could fine tune, but the big thing was turning off throttle blip. That gave me, I think, like 1.5 tenths of a second, which is a lot in that regard. I mean, that's basically a whole nother tier of times that you get there, just by turning off the assist. So yeah, don't underestimate that stuff, it's important. For some other things, it might not be all that amazing. Like for racing, I think I would be better off removing that again and yeah, just having the throttle blip, make sure that it matches RPM. Sometimes the cars get a bit too much of a kick when upshifting or even downshifting. I had a few issues here and there, and that might have been the cause. Might have also been aggressive brake tuning, trying to change the brake bias to get more out of my rear brakes. I mean, with some of the cars it's been much more consistent ever since then, but initially I made the mistake of testing the brake bias on the drag strip while also doing other stuff, and just accelerating and then stopping in a straight line to see how long that takes, how much the brakes lock up, and especially is it the front brakes locking up, the rear brakes, what's happening there. That's not enough. You need to test that with actual corners, especially if you have a corner that doesn't go from a straight into the corner but has a bit of a bend to the entry. Because if you don't get the proper brake balancing, if your car gets unstable, it's super easy to spin them out at that point. Okay, bit of an incline here, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, always gonna keep that stuff in mind. So I actually got a choice to make here. I could theoretically go into the medium dirt road. It's dirt, but there isn't really anything crazy happening there. Or I can stay on the regular road, which is going to have a major incline at some point. I'm going to stay on the regular road and hope that this tractor can do it. That's actually a point where I need to go into the L gear with my heavy duty version of this one. So the one that's specifically tuned to pull heavy loads up any incline that's also struggling there. So this might be me signing up for something that the truck may not be equipped for. But it should overall be alright. It's already slowing down here, but I can still downshift into first gear, so I should be alright. We are approaching midnight, so it's not going to get bright again anytime soon. Still, for this being, I don't know what setting, I should probably check that. On the testing version, I have the moonlight brightness down to I think 70%. I kinda like the darker mood there, it's really nice. Bit surprised how much I can see over here, but then again, this is really wide open terrain, and as long as you don't have too many trees and all of that, it's not gonna be fully dark. So let me just quickly check the settings here. Okay, it's still at 70%. So feels really bright, but then again, we just have the moon shining down on us. In other areas, it gets way darker. And I think it's also going to get dark around 4 AM. I don't know if we'll be here for that still. That might be a long time out. Also, it's getting a pretty long video, but I don't know. Don't mind that too much. But yeah, overall, usually it's usually quite a bit darker than what we have here. Damn, that's a steep cliff down there. I don't always recognize how far up we are here. Especially with the ocean just being a single color thing. Doesn't really leave too much of impression on how far up we are. So yeah, I think we are approaching the steep part. And if possible, I would like to not have that idiot in front of me there. The thing about them is they are really good at zipping away when you get stuck somewhere. But at the point where you could actually get a bit of speed going to hopefully make it over the next hill, they are going to slow you down so much that that's the reason why you get stuck to begin with. But we should be good here. Yeah, no problem. Second gear pulling up like nothing. Otherwise I would have to teleport over to Baiyang and get a rotator. But yeah, we are over the crest, and with heavy duty deliveries, that one is actually, that's a bit of a problem there. Okay. We are almost done with Oldley. Still got the electronics factory to go, and then we are out of here. I also tried setting up something for a future event, which is going to be really interesting. It's going to be a point-to-point series of races. Or a series of point-to-point races, whatever. First one starting down in Ara and then going up the coastal road, just like what we did, all the way up to the electronics factory over there. The second one is going to go from the electronics factory up to Lijo Island, around the east coast, and then... shit, I need to cut in here. Don't mind me, I'm officially on the middle lane. Yeah, you go up to Lijo Island, around the east coast for a bit, and then up to Lijo City. The third stage is going to go back down to Baiyang from there, on the west coast of Lijo Island. And then of course onto the highway past Ansan and so on. Don't mind me, if you don't give me space I'm gonna take it. Spun him out. I don't care. And then yeah, from Baiyang up to the quarry. From the quarry down to Dasa on the new road, and then from Dasa to the gas station, and then also a bit further inland until the paved road ends. So that's gonna be a real trip. And honestly, if I had a chance, I would do this in one. But those are 6 different stages right now, and each of them, or almost all of them, take full advantage of 50 checkpoints. Just trying to mark out the apex of each road so that people cannot shortcut. And there are so many little corners here and there. Yeah, it's really hard to make it work any other way. I actually tried going with only 4 stages, so going from the electronics factory that we just went past over to Lijo and back down to Baiyang, that was initially 1 stage, but it was a bit rough. And once you cut that in half, you suddenly notice just how many more checkpoints you really want to use for different things. In some cases where possible, I also took advantage of my existing routes and then just put parts of those into the new route, just to not have to redo everything. But yeah, it works. Happy with what it turned out to be, but we'll have to see when I get to host that one. Checkpoint limits. Oh, the checkpoint limit is another thing that I've been trying to see raised a bit. With how the roads turn out here, especially some of the longer roads that we could theoretically have, you really need to make some sacrifices when it comes to mapping them out. You just don't have enough checkpoints to do it properly. I have some routes that already taken some compromise, but I think at some point, if we just had more checkpoints, much longer and more in-depth routes would be possible. It would really open up a whole can of worms that would be amazing for the racing community. The one I've been planning in particular, if I put all of these together, I would need about 300 checkpoints. Slightly less, but then there's also still a bit of a gap in the coastal road network. I mean, to show that real quick, from over here, down here, and then connection to Ara. That would be the closing part, and I think at that point, assuming they wouldn't put that on dirt roads, then we would also have the option to go around both islands completely without taking any dirt roads. As it is right now, between the desert gas station and Ara, there is a dirt road, and going up from the desert gas station further north, there's also going to be a dirt road, so yeah, that doesn't really fully work. We can go to the desert gas station on the next update without touching any dirt road, but you cannot make a full loop about that. And there's somebody who likes to make racetracks in the game, who likes to find out good layouts. That stuff matters to me. I mean, I would also like to see a few more dirt roads to do more rally stuff on. But yeah, primarily I care more about the paved stuff. Give me more tarmac, and also make sure I don't go the wrong direction, just like what I did over here. I'm supposed to go to Gangyang, not right into Jiju. That doesn't work with my load. Smooth turnaround. At least something. But yeah, still cargo damage 3%. I think it was a good idea to avoid most of the dirt roads and also the bumpy stuff. So that worked out really well. Also, it was a fun drive overall. Got a bit worried about getting stuck on the last coast a bit, but that went fine and nothing too crazy. Also, with how the traffic has been working out, avoiding Baiyang might have been a good idea as well. That reminds me, for Baiyang, I rarely ever use the bypass roads. I tried doing something with them for some racetrack layouts, but that's been about it. It comes actually driving, I just drive straight to the gas station. And witness the chaos of the constant traffic jam over there. Almost an hour long. I should have made this into a two-parter, but I didn't know when to cut it. Just turning it into a two-part video where you only see the beginning that's really interesting and the end, and then a lot of stuff in the middle. That's just me driving around. I don't know if that would have done much. Okay, are we getting a fine? Yep. Total overload. I mean, kinda to be expected. But 3K isn't really that much to begin with, so it's not too bad. I could have gotten around that, but who cares? I would have still liked it more if the fine wasn't applied automatically and instead um, gave me a wanted level. I think in terms of gameplay that would have been a bit more interesting. Did I get rid of my waypoint here? Because we should be going to this place right now. Unloading the Neo, that's the first car that needs to go. Okay, this is gonna be a bit tight. I might be able to loop around the entire complex here. Was so focused on the back that I didn't notice that I was driving into the hedge over there. I don't want to rip down any of the lights here. That would be a lot of damage to the cars potentially. Okay, but here we are. Let's just stop and unload the Neo real quick. Use control panel. And just open the back and then unstrap, drive it out, and then we should get a good amount of money here. Really hard to count how much money it is going to be in the end because I still have my company stuff going in the meantime, and therefore we are going to get a bit of money from that. But this should be like 30k or something. Oh, 41k. I mean, more like 35 without the town bonus effect, or 36, but yeah, works out really nicely. Good amount of money, and we are now going to get a lot more of that with all the drop-offs. Next up will be the tanker drop-off, so after that we won't even need that anymore. Just double checking. Yeah, we should be good for the next stuff. Just making sure I don't have another vehicle for this dealership and forget about it. Okay, so I think I wanna go up here. Yeah, no problem with the traffic lights. They are thankfully a good bit higher than what we are. So that's alright. Don't want any collisions. Don't wanna tear down any street furniture because that's just gonna be all sorts of damage for me. Gotta keep the cargo in good condition. And for this one, we are just going to make it easier on ourselves and temporarily use the road as a parking spot. I don't think my bus is going to like that, but should just be a minute or two. Oops, if I can make it in there to begin with. It's funny how this just bounces off a little bit. In real life, it would have been a whole nightmare to deal with. Cracked foundation, bent fender, the fence likely also broken. Also, the most important point at this point, get the contract before delivery. So if we go up here, plastic, fuel 20. Down where it is. Completion reward 58k. Minus, what was it, 11k for signing the contract, but also a bit of bonus on top of every unit delivered. 50k flat town bonus effect, 5k contract bonus, and then also 58k delivery or completion bonus. So yeah, that's a lot of money. I've actually been asking about getting those things changed because honestly it's an unfair amount of money. Right now with what we've done here it kinda works, but keep in mind you're getting the same amount of money if you deliver the fuel from Lijo Harbor. So that's far shorter. And at that point it gets a bit ridiculous. Right now that's already about 100% bonus on top of what we would get for just the delivery. And yeah, I'm trying to park here in order to get rid of the trailer. Almost. Bit sad that we don't have a long enough parking spot here. Perfect. But I know this works. Sometimes you're just gonna pull the brakes, keep the throttle going, and then just feather the brakes a little bit to inch forward, but do it often enough and eventually you will make your way there. I guess the bus took a different line. And now we can just do the rest of the deliveries, but yeah, that was a good amount of money right there. And from the next update onwards, I could actually map this out and give myself a checkpoint per drop-off. Right now the limit seems to be at 10 checkpoints for the route, and they disappear once you reach them, so it's, yeah, like the bus or trucking routes, but only temporary, and that's working really well for some of these one-time things. Okay, next stop, Gangyang dealership, and we are going to leave the town out of the west end and then up north to Lijo City. And then we should be pretty close to finish. But yeah, after that I think I'll be going back to the private testing version, so this is a long one. This should have likely been 2 videos, if not 3, but yeah, don't expect any more anytime soon afterwards. I might do other games, I don't know yet. But for Motor Town it's likely gonna be a while. Okay, there's another trick I can do, and I think it's time for it. Where is the release lever? Right there. I'll set up my landing gear to really lift up the front. And that should give me a slightly better angle on the rear now. Yeah, it's still a bit unfortunate because we are on a downward slope and there's like a bend in the road. It's bending downwards, and that's why I'm kind of having a bit of a problem. I'm basically on a crest now, but it should be alright. Okay. Ka-ching. Another 35k. Or 39 with a bonus. Jesus Christ, do you want to kill me? Like that truck driver was going straight for murder. And now he's stuck. Because he can't drive 1 inch to the left. Can he inch pass? Oh, he did it. Look at that. Honestly, the AI in this game is one of my bigger concerns. I don't know if they know how to improve it, and right now it's still kinda very bad. I mean, they are doing so many amazing things in the game. In the end, it's, yeah. It's already incredible what they are doing for such a small studio, so this might be something that we just have to live with. But hey, maybe they can get something done in the future. I don't know. With some of the stuff, it's really more like they are having other priorities. But with AI in particular, I'm not entirely sure if they can easily improve it. There might be limitations to what they can do and what they can't. We'll see. Oh. Man, this thing is going completely different now that we have dropped off like half the cars and the entire tanker. But yeah, I wanted to show that whole tanker thread at some point because it's really good for money. It's also kind of fun managing different types of cargo at the same time. So I quite like it. It's just a bit more involved than only hauling cars. Okay, do I dare go on the dirt road? I kinda wanna. I mean, it's smooth, it should be alright. No need to go down to the intersection there. Let's just use the shortcut. I remember this one not even being marked on the map at some point. And they used to have a really horrible kind of texture for it. Basically, there was a separate left and right side with grass in the middle, and you couldn't easily go from one to the other. It was kind of rough. But yeah, now there's no longer a problem, so we can do what we want here. And it's working out fantastically. And up to Jeju we go. But yeah, for this kind of job, there's going to be another little tool in the next update. They are working on a heavy-duty rollback truck right now with an underlift. So while it might not be the best one for this exact job, you can do a few cool things with that. Like haul the tow requests and all of that. I hope that at some point we'll finally see some proper payout management for that. The whole balancing part of it is completely off right now. kinda in both directions. Some stuff pays way too much, others not enough. Like we already introduced weight scaling for the payout, but it was way too much at some point. And right now it feels like small vehicles on this trailer, especially if you can maybe even go for 8 really small cars, that's just gonna be so much money. And I think that maybe adding either payment scaling for these kind of vehicles or making them length based or something with how much they pay, that might be the way to go. I mean, also weight scale and all of that, but really depends on the kind of transport vehicle you're using. Okay, there's the delivery box, and we need to go in here now. But yeah, it feels like tow requests haven't been worth it all that much for quite a while. So that should be addressed. And right now, I'm pretty sure it doesn't use any kind of consideration for the road distance. I mean, we've seen how badly the Wuhan delivery to Guangjin would have paid. And that should be a really high-paying job for how much work it's going to take. Okay, likely the most damaged car here, and I may have been a bit too quick with unloading it, but hey, that's still a really good payout. Yeah, control panel, not summoning vehicles. And off to the last 2 deliveries. So yeah, almost like visiting all the places around here. That's kind of fun. But I can say for the sake of this video, I could have done without it. I could have done with just Gangyang. But that would have likely also involved just trying to get more cars to spawn and looking through them a bit more. I could have maybe prepared something, but in the end, yeah, I like to be a bit more spontaneous about that. In the end, taking what you can get and making that work for you, that's kinda part of the job. And if I just prepared myself 6 or 7 cars for Gangyang, that would have kinda killed that part. But we might do something similar again in a few episodes once we get the next update, and then just see how it goes once we get to use the other road. I think this is a good way to benchmark that. Can always come back to this video and then see how long did it take to get to Gangyang and compare that if I want to. But I get the feeling that it's going to be a shorter video nonetheless. Like that much is pretty much a given. Okay. Let's gonna get all the tires here. Point and click adventure. Alright, let's get rid of this one. That's also a really good price, 48k for a Mini. Yeah, I'm just gonna let it go. You are free. Go and roam the meadows. Like you were made to be. Whatever. Ah, come on. I could maybe use like a little catwalk on the side. That would be nice. Okay, roll down. Bit of damage, but that's gonna be fine. I mean, we made 5.4k or 5.4 million flat. Nice. So that were about, what was it? 300k something. I don't know exactly what I started with, but I think it was less than 5.1 million. So this has been highly lucrative. Now just gonna figure out how to keep the money when going back to the testing branch. It's gonna be fine. But yeah, this is gonna be it for me for this episode. As always, thanks for watching. I think the next Motortown video, either I do one on another weekend after the racing events, because I always need to go back to this branch for that. Otherwise, it might just be once the next update comes out. Might not be an update overview this time around. I kinda wanna keep that to Motortown Hub. Those videos are just more concise than mine anyways, so that works out, but we'll have to see. Until then, as always, have a good one. Thank you for watching and bye bye.